It's Donald Trump's first full day on the trail. Right now, he's campaigning in the primary state of New Hampshire, where the crowds will likely get the Trump say anything approach, like he did last night in Iowa.
Politicians, they're killing this country. They're killing it. I watched Jeb Bush yesterday. He can't even put on a tie and jacket. He's running for president. As women, I'm a woman. I'm going to be the youngest woman in the White House, and I'm not going to have white hair. I'm going to dye my hair blonde. And I mean, she's going crazy. Rubio was really weak on immigration. And by the way, I have better hair than he does, believe me. Okay, and it is my hair. In Mexico, you could take the cars and trucks, and we can have the illegals drive them right through the border into our country, and then they can disappear. It's true. ISIS has the oil. And ISIS is rich. And what we should do right now is go blast the hell out of that oil. Nobody thinks of me as the ultimate wasp, but I am.
But one day in, he's already creating a headache for the GOP with controversial comments on Mexican immigrants. He was asked about it today by MSNBC's Casey Hunt.
In your speech today, you said that, quote, some rapists are coming across the border with Mexico.
Absolutely.
What did you mean by that?
Well, you have rapists. They're sending us not their finest people. They're sending us people, and it's people from other than Mexico also. We have drug dealers coming across. We have rapists. We have killers. We have murderers. Why, do you think they're going to send us? I mean, it's common sense. You think they're going to send us their best people and their finest people? The answer is no.
So he's basically defending the comment. And today, no real denouncement from party leaders? At a time when America's looking for economic fairness and social equality, here comes Donald Trump. We are all waiting to see what happens next. Let's talk to my friends Jimmy Williams and Jason Johnson. Jason, I said last night, Trump will be a factor. How bad is this for the party, or do you think it's a good thing?
It's horrible for the Republican Party. It's great for comedians. I mean, look, the problem is, and this is a piece I've got coming out on NBC tomorrow, it degrades the entire process. When you have a carnival barker on stage that everyone knows doesn't really want the job, it makes everyone else in the room look silly because they either have to answer for his behavior or justify his existence on the same stage. So this is really bad news for the Republican Party, but they can't get rid of him because he's got too much money and too high a name recognition.
Jimmy, and those are live pictures, by the way, of Donald Trump right now in the state of the major primary state of New Hampshire. But Jimmy, it's bad for the party, Jason says, but good for comedians. But I also think it could be good for Jeb Bush, because right now, this race is starting to be seen as Jeb Bush against Donald Trump. He's taken all the air out of the room for the other opponents. And they've either got to act more bizarre or do something that would grab attention to even be noticed, or Bush can just stand back and act presidential and like the adult in the room and just beat who is perceived as clownish.
Yeah, Jason makes a good point, which is, you know, whatever he does, it's all for the benefit of Donald Trump. And I think that Donald Trump isn't running against Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush. I think Donald Trump's running against everyone. And by the way, that sort of populism theme, if you will, that plays well, and it plays well with a large swath of American society. But here's the problem. No one actually thinks that Donald Trump can be president, will be president, ever will be president. Secondly, and more importantly, I think that there's something that's happening here that Donald Trump doesn't even realize, and that is by pumping himself up over and over and over again, he leaves the party has to follow him. He's running as a Republican. No one should ever forget Donald Trump, a four-time bankruptee in the state of New York, is running for president as a Republican. So the RNC, who's not allowed to pick a candidate, by the way, has to defend him. And if they can't defend him, like our good friend Sean Spicer wasn't able to do earlier, then that's a problem for the RNC and for the Republican Party. His ideas are out of the mainstream of even Republican voters. And if that's the case, they have to either tamp him down, not let him in the debates, or disassociate from him. And if they do, he still wins on the national debate stage.
You know, I noticed a sign in this crowd in New Hampshire saying Mexicans are people, not criminals. You know, Trump's controversial comments on Mexican immigrants is making headlines. The Mexican government is lashing out today, calling Trump's ideas, quote, absurd. But the RNC's official response has been lukewarm at best, saying Trump's comments are not helpful. And a Washington Post editorial says this comment will keep the GOP out of the White House. Now, this is a demographic Republicans need, yet we didn't really hear the outrage from party leaders. How will that play out, Jason?
Well, see, this is why I disagree, Rev. Trump really actually hurts Jeb Bush, because this is Jeb Bush's baby constituency. Jeb Bush is, I'm the Republican candidate who can get 45% of the Latino vote. He can't let Trump be on the same stage as him and keep making these comments without engaging Donald Trump.
Unless
and, when you wrestle with a pig...
Unless he confronts him, unless he takes him on.
Exactly. You know, you wrestle with a pig, you both get muddy. I think this actually ends up helping Scott Walker, because when Jeb and Trump are fighting with each other, Scott Walker can say, yeah, these guys can fight. I've actually been a functional governor. So I think this could actually harm Jeb Bush long term, because he's going to have to engage Trump in a way that I think other candidates can probably avoid.
It's according to how he plays it. And, you know, Jeb Bush responded to his new rival, Mr. Trump, on Fox last night. Watch this. Jimmy
took you on in a speech today about Common Core and immigration. I want to ask you, you
sorry.
Is that
I shouldn't have done that.
And Donald Trump talked on Morning Joe in the interview airing tomorrow. Here's a clip of him responding.
I think that Bush is a nice man. I call him, he's a man that doesn't want to be doing what he's doing. To be honest, I call him the reluctant warrior, and warrior is probably not a good word. But I think Bush is an unhappy person. I don't think he has any energy, and I don't see how he can win. In addition to that, he's in favor of Common Core, and he's weak on immigration.
How will this play out for Jeb, Jimmy? I mean, Trump is polling pretty well.
Well, I mean, look, he's got to poll in the top 10, if you will, in order to get on these debate stages. But I think that I hate to say this, but Donald Trump's on to something, and that is that Bush's immigration stance, while with the general electorate would play probably pretty well, does not at all play well with the Republican right-wing extremists, i.e. the base voters. Same thing with Common Core. Now, I think if someone, I hope that Joe, our colleague Joe Scarborough, asks or has asked Donald Trump exactly what Common Core is, because I'm pretty sure he couldn't tell you what it is. Yeah. But that's irrelevant to the process. What is relevant is whether or not Jeb Bush is able to make it through. He's not really going to participate in Iowa. He's banking on New Hampshire, and then he's praying like all get out that he can do well in South Carolina, where Bushes are known to do well. So if he can get through those early states and not come in third, fourth, or fifth, then he's still a viable candidate purely because of the money he's raised. Something most people don't know. Jeb Bush announced 2 days ago, Jeb Bush doesn't have a single staffer on the ground in South Carolina as we speak. That does not bode well for him.
Yeah, well, the full interview, by the way, with Donald Trump is on Morning Joe tomorrow morning. Jimmy Williams and Jason Johnson, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rev.